Tez.
Welcome to the TezDown. Welcome.
Find the Tez.
Mic check 1 2. Welcome. Welcome to the TezDown.
Party time. Under Section 107 of the Copyright Act of 1976, allowance is made for fair use for purposes such as criticism, comment, news reporting, scholarship, research, education, and parody. Under this act, fair use is permitted use of copyrighted content that might otherwise infringe on the exclusive rights of copyright holders. The TezDown podcast is a platform for entertainment and education. Edutainment, a blend of education and entertainment, emphasizes content that informs while it entertains. The views expressed in this channel's commentary do not necessarily reflect or represent the views of the hosts, and may not always reflect complete or verified accuracy of information presented. All content, including commentary, analysis, and discussion, falls within the legal parameters of fair use. We make no claims to ownership of any third-party content. This is the TezDown. Sports unscripted, culture unfiltered. Thank you for understanding.
Are you making another beat, Daddy?
What up, nephew?
And Genius is my dad.
Hey, Lele. Classic. Bass. Hard times ain't nothing at all. Really come from a struggle. Move around Michael Buffer. Always ready to rumble. All that mean is off the muscle. Y'all can't match my hustle. Screen bucket, that's a cuzzo. Bigger key to no muzzle. Lately I'm feeling exhausted. Think I'm tired of being humble. Coach y'all on the duffel. Chip on my shoulder, you don't wanna ruffle. Where I come from, everybody is cutthroat. Could've been dead, I'm just doing what I'm up for. My old homie jumped off the roof. I tried to shepherd, he was nuts so. Life, win you lose. You gotta pick it or choose. Chose to win. Now I went first on a cruise. The shortest path always straight. Why you all in your own way? You scream YOLO to be goofy instead of using that to be great. You black, you should be proud. When I die spending money with the apes, it's gonna be a ton. I'm running up the rate. My name on your tongue, I'm coming up the ranks. Consistency so persistently is the recipe. I cannot lose. My options in life is win, succeed, or win. How can I choose? I'm damned if I do, I'm damned if I don't. So damn it, I think I'ma do. Survived a lot, I could've died a lot, but I'm here, got nothing to prove. Woke up, inspired. Woke up, inspired. Woke up, inspired. Woke up, woke up. Woke up feeling inspired. Treadwheel, low pro tire. Grind like my needs are dire. I grind like my straight's a diet. Woke up, woke up, woke up. Woke up. When I start getting awards, know that I deserve it. I ain't getting choked up. Confidence come from preparation. Fundamentals that'll separate us. I document it just so it makes sense when y'all clowns see me elevated. You the type to take the elevator. I take the stairs by the escalator. You proclaim that you work hard. I show and prove that I'm dedicated. Y'all got failure traits. Ain't did nothing trying to celebrate. Why? You procrastinate. I bet tomorrow's your favorite day. In a minute is your favorite time. Just a second is your favorite line. One moment, please. You got a million ideas. All of them on your mind. Ain't nothing getting done. You having fun, no fun. Loaded clip, no gun. You can't fight.
Welcome to the TezDown. It is bright and early on a Monday afternoon, and I am the Tez. How are you guys doing today? Oh, y'all are in here early. What's up, y'all? How you doing? We got in here right now. Uncle Plug, what's good? Uncle Plug, get on my guy. Stay on their neck. Tez, what's up? What's up? What's up? How you doing, Uncle Plug? We got Uncle Plug Sco's in the building as well. What's up, Sco? How you feeling, man? Let's got to see where Sco's go. I saw you in here, but it's gone now. The comment ain't let me put it up there. But it's all good. Today's show is a very informative and special show for me today. And I want to make sure that you guys understand just how much we want to talk about this. It is talking about the secret societies that may or may not exist. Once again, this is one of those episodes where I'm here, but I'm not. I'm here, but I'm not. Not sure how I feel about Tez with no graphics on his chest. Yes, I had to go no graphics today. I had to. It is warm, very warm here right now in Illinois. In the Chicagoland area is very warm, and I stepped outside and I was like, no regular hoodie. Nope. Oh man, that was good. Y'all just don't know. I haven't had one of those in quite a while. It tasted too good right now. That's what it was.
God damn, Jimmy. This some serious gourmet shit.
Hey, y'all don't know about it. But it's okay. How you feeling, McKinnon? Nice to see you in here. Nice to see you in here. How the rest of y'all doing today? You know?
Don't you want to live the taste of the glory? See what it tastes like.
We all do. We want to find out what's going on here. So let's start off early with the show with levels of the rich. What level of rich do you think that you aspire to be if you aspire to be rich? Do you think that being rich is for everybody and it would benefit everybody? Well, some of you might be rich now. We're going to find out what you think about it, what they think about it, what the government thinks about it. And we're gonna find out today together. Let's go.
If you earned $1 per second, then to make $1 million would take you about 11.5 days. But to make $1 billion would take you over 31.5 years. You see, it's easy to think of wealth in terms of rich or poor. But broadly speaking, there are arguably 5 different levels of rich. And at each level, things change very drastically. The difference between what a millionaire can do and a billionaire can do is simply staggering. In this video, we'll be exploring what life is like at each of these different wealth levels and delving into how the ultra-rich spend their money, including some of the most bizarre and extravagant purchases you've ever heard of. But as you're watching, you'll realize that one of the biggest changes that happens at each of these wealth levels is perspective. Because prices feel relative.
Perspective. We're starting this off the right way today. Perspective is the way to go. Perspective. Keep that in mind. That might end up being the word of today. Perspective. Let's see where they take it.
To how much you earn. So if you compare someone who's earning $40,000 a year with someone earning $400 million a year, it's 10,000 times more, which means a Lambo that costs $300,000 to them is the equivalent of spending $30. A $10 million piece of art feels like $1,000. A $50 million home in the Hamptons feels more like $5,000. So, whilst to us, each of those purchases would feel so major, to a billionaire, it's not even something they'd really need to think about. And of course, when you're that wealthy, it's not just items and experiences that you can buy. But we'll get to that. Let's instead start off with the first level of rich, the top 1%. Even though this phrase is synonymous with being extremely rich, if your income is over about $200,000 a year, you would technically be part of the top 1% of worldwide earners. And so being in the top 1% may not make you feel quite as rich as you would think. Because sure, you can typically afford a nice house and car, but with those things comes higher costs. And so you probably don't feel very financially secure, and you're likely still working a full-time job. Which is why beyond this level, wealth starts to be measured in net worth rather than income. Because the more wealth you have, the more assets you have, and you're probably not making your money from a normal salary. So the next level of rich is a net worth of $10 million to $30 million. At this level, your needs are met. You can live very comfortably. You have a really nice house. You often fly first class internationally. If it's a special occasion, you might book a $2,000 suite. You can afford any healthcare you need. And in fact, no emergency financial situation can destroy your life. And yet, you're still not rich in the way that money doesn't matter. You still have to be sensible and careful when it comes to big decisions. And in the banking world, you're still not classified as having an ultra high net worth. Which brings us to our next level, a net worth of $30 million to $100 million. At this point, you start playing in the big leagues. And most likely, you run or have a controlling interest in a very large company. You always stay at 5-star hotels, and you have multiple residences all around the world that you can stay in as well. You take holidays during prime time, for example, going to Monaco for the Grand Prix, or Cannes for the film festival. And you won't bat an eyelid when the place you're staying at costs $10,000 to $20,000 per night. You have personal assistants and are starting to have people that others have to talk to get to you. You can buy pretty much anything that normal people think of as stuff rich people buy. Like you can buy any cars you want, the fanciest jewelry, and so on. Instead of flying first class, you'd fly privates. Although, having said that, you typically charter a flight or own a private jet fractionally through a service like NetJets, instead of buying it outright and having to maintain it. But still, at this level, another big change that happens is your social circle. You probably start social.
Social circle. Let's hit that for a little bit. Half of the reason why the rich stay rich and the mega rich get even more mega rich is because of the social circle that they surround themselves with. Now, you might say that's not necessarily true, but yes, it is. Think about it. Rich people have rich friends. Do you know really rich people who don't hang out with really rich people? I don't. Any of the really rich people that I knew, they tend to hang out with other really rich people. And they continue to find more really rich people. And they hang out together. Just over the weekend, we did a show. And it was millionaires versus the middle class. And the millionaire guy, he was just like, "Look, I'm gonna tell you honestly. If I go look for a job and I put out a resume, I'm going to get the job before you because they know me and they don't know you." Strange, right? Some people say that it's privilege. Some people say that it's luck. It sounds a lot like privilege to me. Just saying.
With congressmen, senators, and community leaders. You're likely very well respected within some very high-class circles. Interestingly though, since you're likely surrounded by other ultra-wealthy people, you may start to feel you don't have enough. Sure, you may have just bought a new Ferrari, but your friend has a limited edition version where only 5 were ever made. And sure, you had dinner with a local governor, but your billionaire friend just had dinner with the president. Even at this level, people are still looking above them, which brings us to our next level of wealth, $100 million to $1 billion net worth. To be at this level, you likely have ownership or control of a business that most of the public have heard of, even if they haven't heard of you directly. At this point, you can likely socialize with movie stars, rock stars, and the corporate elites. You can go pretty much anywhere you want and always in style. You have multiple residences with staff all over the world with elite cars at every residence. If it's your thing, you might have a private island and of course a private yacht to get you there. Almost any experience you can dream up, you can have. Want to play tennis with your favorite star? Call his people. For a donation of $100,000 or more to his charity, you can probably play a match with him. Want your favorite band to come and play at your private party? Well, for the right price, they probably will. What about if you love art? Your people could arrange for the curator of the Louvre to show you around and show you some masterpieces they haven't exhibited in years. If you can dream an experience up, you can likely have it. Donations and fees can get you to anyone. And once you have many hundreds of millions of dollars, it's the same when it comes to buying things. You may hire people specifically to find you the most extravagant versions of items you can think of. For example,
see, now McKinnon brings up a very good point here, and I want to highlight this. McKinnon says the only level of financially rich anyone should ever care about is not having to work for other people. Anything after that is excess, and how you use it shows who you are. McKinnon, I've done so many episodes talking about this, and I'm inclined to agree with you that the goal is to be free of dealing with other people while you work, and also dealing with bosses or anything like that. That is the level of rich that we aspire to be. But I don't want to be, mega rich to, further my own goals alone. I do want to help the world. I want to help the neighborhoods. I want to help the government, like all of the things that work for us people. I want to be able to influence and help. If that's possible or not is still up for debate. Because again, once we see people starting to do these things, then things will start to change. But if people aren't doing these things, it's almost impossible for them to change. What's up, Skull? What's up, Skull? How you doing? What's up, Athar V? How you doing? What's going on? I have a private island south of the South Pole. Hey, man, if you can survive, good for you. I don't think I can survive down there. No, it's too cold.
the Australian company Toilet Paper Man produces 22 karat gold toilet paper for a cost of over 1.3 million. And if you are going to quite literally flush money down the toilet, why not get a gold toilet or an entire gold bathroom to go with it? In fact, if you're ultra wealthy, you can literally have gold everything. How about a 24 karat gold water bottle, which in itself is a piece of designer art and comes with spring water from France and Fiji, combined with glacier water from Iceland? Or alternatively, how about the world's most expensive iPhone that has 24 karat gold casing and more than 600 white and black diamonds, plus sapphire glass for the screen? This obviously isn't available to the general public. To buy one, you're going to need over $15 million. But this is the key. At this level, it's not just about buying the fanciest, most luxurious items, it's about getting the rarest and most exclusive things you possibly can. For example, you could get a limited edition pen that costs $160,000, has 4,810 diamonds inside, and only 8 are made each year. Or if you want to go a lot bigger than that, many billionaires turn to art. And not just rare paintings, but things like this dead shark art piece created by Damien Hirst that sold for $12 million. Or let's say you like piano. Well, here's the same crystal piano that was used for the Beijing Olympic Games that was purchased at a private auction for a record $3.2 million. You see, when you're at this wealth level, your mind is the only real limit to what is available. But then we have our final level, the 1 billion net worth and above. Now, before we get into what you can do as a billionaire, which honestly is pretty insane.
Now, ladies and gentlemen, this will probably explain to you why no one particularly likes billionaires, especially me.
It's worth noting that the number of billionaires on Forbes' annual rich list has significantly increased in recent years, and there's now around 2,755 known billionaires. Of course, it's possible there are more who have generational wealth that simply do a good job of staying very, very private. But either way, Forbes have estimated these 2,755 billionaires are worth a combined $13.1 trillion, and therefore have more wealth between them than the poorest 5 billion people on Earth combined. These statistics are overwhelming. But let's actually visualize it to put things in perspective. This right example really highlights that even within this billionaire category, the difference between 1 billion and the kind of wealth Jeff Bezos or Elon Musk have is insanely vast. I'm also a big fan of James Jani's YouTube channel, and he did a great job of visualizing the difference between these large sums of money in a different way. So after seeing these examples, we've now got a better idea of the scale of $1 billion. So now let's look at what you can actually do with it. Because essentially, you can buy anything. And I do mean anything. We're no longer talking about luxurious items and experiences. Firstly, you can buy access. You can ask your staff to contact almost anyone on the planet and get a call back. It's amazing the level of access and respect $1 billion can get you, where within an hour, you can ask your people to get in touch with someone and they'd be able to do it. And I'm not just talking about contacting celebrities. It works the same with powerful people within politics as well, especially because the billionaire may well be a donor to their political party. And so if you're a billionaire, you may occasionally meet with the heads of states and have conversations with them, which brings us to the second thing $1 billion can buy: influence. As a billionaire, you have many ways to shape public policy and the public debate. And this isn't always done in some kind of evil way, like lobbying for lower taxes for rich people. Although, obviously, that does happen. But the simple fact is, because of your wealth and connections, you can absolutely influence big changes in the world. And not just on a political level, because another thing you can buy is impact through philanthropy and charity. Your money can literally change countless lives. The question is, how do you distribute it? Clean water for villages? Fund new hospitals? Try to save a dying species of animal? With money, you can impact almost anything of your choice. But one of the biggest differences with billionaires that is often overlooked is the ability to essentially buy time. You quite literally don't have to wait for anything. No lines, no sitting around. Just think about it. You've got your own private jet. So you just show up at the airport whenever you want, sit down in the plane, and 2 minutes later, you're in the sky and can go wherever you wish. When you arrive, a driver will have already been arranged to pick you up and take you wherever you want to go. Your assistant will have already got the best table at the restaurant you mentioned wanting to eat at, or maybe your assistant arranged for a celebrity chef to come to one of your vacation homes instead, at whatever time you choose. Everything you could need is taken care of for you. However, believe it or not, there are some downsides to being this ultra wealthy. Firstly, it's nearly impossible to have normal emotional relationships at this level. It can become increasingly difficult.
You know, it has been said before on multiple occasions that when you have that much wealth, you can't find a relationship the way that a regular person would find a relationship, because how could you? people only really see what you have at that point. They don't really even see the person that you are, because the person that you are is being influenced by all the money that you have and the people that you put yourself around. You have to be a completely unique individual to be able to navigate that and then find true love, in my opinion. But what else do they have to say about it?
Difficult to have friends and family that love you for who you are. They exist, but it's pretty hard to know which ones they are. Because your world is likely filled with yes men and people looking to take advantage at every opportunity. Your trust and connections with people are undoubtedly considerably weakened. Dating also becomes an odd experience. On the one hand, some of the world's most beautiful and intelligent women are all around you at parties and events. But again, finding someone you have a genuine emotional connection with is a different story. Especially because your time is so valuable that you're always busy and unable to invest in making deep connections with new people. And even if you do find someone, the relationship balance is skewed in a strange way when you have essentially unlimited money. Because no matter whether you pay for everything or whether your partner makes their own money, either way, something about the dynamic feels off. And finally, and most crucially of all, no level of money can give you truly everything. Because death is the great equalizer, and losing loved ones, and losing your own health, and facing your own mortality are problems that no amount of money can solve. The Reddit poster who inspired this video, and deserves full credit, talks about how he met Sylvester Stallone at a party, who had obviously had a very successful career. He said he was such a great guy, had huge levels of wealth and luxury, a smart and beautiful wife, and yet he also had a special needs son who died young. In his words, nobody has it all. Nobody.
Remember this phrase: nobody has it all. Nobody. The world is not designed for you to have everything. The world is not designed for you to experience everything, to feel everything. That is why FOMO, the fear of missing out, is not a real thing. Once you can get past your FOMO in life, you can go farther than you ever thought that you could. You see, I don't have FOMO. I used to. I battled FOMO for a long time. There's plenty of things that I thought that I was going to miss or did miss or wish that I had been a part of. And guess what? I didn't miss anything. I thought that I did. I thought that by not going to these places and not being with these people and not doing the things they were doing, that I was missing out. The only thing that I missed out was heartache, bad experiences, and things that were going to ruin my health. Being focused is one of the best things that I've ever done. I get focused on a project and I want to finish the project and I want to get my project done. And that is what is important to me. All of the other things outside of that project are not as important as they were before the project started. And that's how you get to be any type of successful in any field, unless you know somebody. But if you're starting at the ground up, like I have had to do for just about everything in my life, focus. Nobody has it all. Now, today's episode is about secret societies. That was a long icebreaker, but it is. It's a secret society episode. We're going to talk about the secret societies that permeate our current society and our culture in the Western world, obviously, and maybe even other parts of the world, and how they affect us. McKinnon says, which is exactly why I will always value my wife above everything. She loved me when I had nothing. She loved me when we lost it all. And she stuck with me as we rebuilt. You, McKinnon, have an excellent wife. You do. You have an excellent wife, and I see why you love her so much. So my hat is going to be tipped to her and to you guys and your family. And I appreciate the candor that you offer whenever you talk about her. Tons of Mice says, you can't buy Tez's hoodie. Tons won't get off your neck, McKinnon. No, he won't. Not at all. How you guys feeling today, though? It's 1:15 in the afternoon. We got to keep it moving. Let's go. We're going to keep it going right along. We got Secret Society. Let's go back.
Level 1, the tap. You don't find them. They find you. And by the time you realize you've been found.
Yo, that part right there. You don't find them. They find you. That's the part that actually is a little bit on the, let's just use the word scary today. That's the part that's a little bit on the scary side. So let's say that you get marginally popular, you get marginally famous, and then these people come knocking on your door. What are you going to do? What does your integrity say when they come and proposition you with an opportunity? What do you do when they tell you that if you do this, you have to worry about nothing else for the rest of your life? But you do know that it's morally apprehensible. It might be against your own morals or against your own beliefs. Do you accept what they've said? And here's the other thing. At what point don't you have a choice? Or do you always have a choice? What do you think, chat? Do you always have a choice whether to join these societies when they come to you to do the things they want you to do? Do you have a choice? What happens if you say no?
The process has already been running for longer than you're comfortable knowing. It starts like this. A man you respect introduces you to a man you don't know at an event you almost didn't attend. The second man is unremarkable. Pleasant. He asks good questions and listens in a way that most people don't. He remembers specific things you said 30 minutes after you said them. You walk away thinking he's just socially gifted. He's not being social. He's conducting an intake interview. 3 weeks later, he calls. He has an opportunity he'd like to discuss. Nothing specific over the phone. Dinner Thursday, a private room at a restaurant you've heard of but never been to. You go because the man who introduced you told you quietly, the day before, that you should go. At dinner there are 4 people. You're the only one being evaluated. You won't know this until much later. The conversation is normal. Business. Travel. Nothing unusual. But at the end, one of them, older, almost bored-looking, slides a single page across the table. It's a summary of your finances. Not your public profile. Your actual finances. The account in your girlfriend's name. The consulting income you haven't fully reported. Numbers that should not be on a piece of paper in front of a stranger. He doesn't threaten you. He doesn't need to. He just lets you sit with what it means that they already have it. Then he smiles and says they think you have the right instincts. That instinct is rare. That they'd like to stay in contact. You say yes. You say yes because the alternative just became something you don't want to think about. That's level 1. It's not a recruitment. It's a capture. You just don't have the vocabulary for it yet. Level 2, the education. Over the next.
So, we have uncovered one of the major points that I wanted to hit. You see these, let's just call them celebrities. These celebrities that get involved with these, let's just call them secret corporations. These celebrities that get involved with these secret corporations, these financiers, these backers, I don't think what you realize that they don't really have much of a choice at this point. They've already been recruited. Now, what happens if you say no?
Next 4 months, you learn more about power than you did in the previous 30 years of your life. You're invited into rooms, consistently positioned as the least important person there, and you watch. You watch how decisions get made between people who have no formal authority over each other, but who operate with a precision that no org chart could explain. You watch how a comment made over dessert becomes a regulatory outcome 6 weeks later. You watch how a name gets mentioned once, quietly, and a career ends. You learn the first real rule. Information is the only currency that doesn't devalue. Money can be frozen. Influence can be revoked. But knowing what you know about someone, the right someone, that holds. That compounds. They begin sharing small things with you. Not secrets, exactly. Context. The real reason a certain merger fell through. What actually happened during a particular political scandal that the public version got wrong. Who was really behind a media campaign that looked grassroots. Each piece is minor. But each piece proves the point. The visible world is a simplified version of events that happen somewhere else first. You're being calibrated. They're measuring how you receive information. Whether you repeat it. Whether you leverage it prematurely. Whether your ego overtakes your patience. Your contact, you know him only by a first name that may or may not be real. Explains it plainly over drinks one night. He says, most people who get information immediately want to use it. They want to feel powerful. The ones who last are the ones who sit on it. Who treat it like a loaded weapon they hope never to fire. You nod. You understand. You've already started sitting on things. Level 3, the compromise. The first thing they ask you to do that you know is wrong takes less than 10 minutes. It's simple. A financial document needs a signature. The document is real, the entity is real, but the purpose of the transaction is to move money from a place that would raise questions to a place that won't. Your signature doesn't implicate you in anything provable. You're 2 layers removed from the actual movement. You sign it. You're paid $45,000 into a clean account within 48 hours. What you don't realize, what you'll only understand later, is that the signature is not about the transaction. The transaction is incidental. The signature is about you. It's the first brick in a wall they're building around you. Not a wall to keep you in. A wall to ensure that if you ever decided to leave or talk, the wall would collapse on you first. Every favor you do from here forward adds another brick. You give someone something they want. They give you something you want. Now you're bound. You watch it happen to others in your circle. A judge receives access to a private event that he shouldn't have attended. A senator gets introduced to a funding source that doesn't survive public scrutiny. A tech executive receives early data, genuinely market-moving data, that he trades on. None of them are blackmailed. Blackmail is crude. What's happening is more elegant. Everyone is simply holding something on everyone else, and the collective weight of it keeps the structure standing. You're inside this now. You feel it, but you don't name it yet. Level 4, the island. You've heard it mentioned 4 times before you're actually invited. Never described. Just mentioned. The property in the Caribbean. The way it's said tells you everything about what it means to be invited, or not. When the invitation comes, it's verbal. No paper. You fly privately to a connection, then a smaller plane, then a boat. You arrive at a structure that is large but not showy. Discretion being the actual luxury at this level, not display. There are roughly 30 people on the property over the long weekend. Some you recognize. A former head of state. A name from European finance you've read about in context of bailouts. 2 or 3 technology figures. Several people you don't recognize who carry themselves in ways that suggest you should. The atmosphere is relaxed in the way that high-pressure environments sometimes manufacture relaxation. Tennis, boats, long dinners, good wine.
You see these societal country clubs, as I have deemed them, are one of the main ways that they get you involved. Now, if you're one of the people that have gotten involved, this sounds great, doesn't it? All I have to do is keep some secrets and I get paid for it and all of that. It sounds like a good idea until you realize they have you. Again, what we've already seen is that the things that you're doing for them is them building a wall around you that isn't made to trap you in, but is made to collapse on you if you decide to leave. And that's the rough part here. If you've noticed what's happened to all of these, let's just call them celebrities that had scandals break loose that were hidden for 20 years, that's what the wall was. The wall was their scandal that was most likely manufactured by these people to keep you in the fold, to manage you, so to say. And this is what these societies pay you for. You stay within our boundaries of what we want you to do to protect us, and in turn, the secrets that you're hiding protect you from everyone else until you decide to be a whistleblower, until you decide that you don't want to do this anymore, until you decide to, I don't know, quit. Well, not only are you going to quit, but we're going to ruin you. It might end up in your offing, and so to say.
Nothing overtly sinister. Nothing you could photograph and explain to someone else in a way that would land.
Cassie.
But underneath it, something is being conducted. Conversations happen in pairings that feel orchestrated. People are introduced to each other in a sequence that isn't random. Information moves. Arrangements are made that will become visible months from now in the form of business decisions and policy shifts that will look like coincidence to anyone who wasn't here. And then there are the other things. You don't participate. You observe. But what you observe is the mechanism by which certain attendees are given access to things they shouldn't have access to in environments that are documented. Cameras that the attendees may not know about, arrangements that create obligation without explicit conversation. You understand immediately what this is. This is the architecture. This is how the bonds are forged at this level. You fly home, and you don't sleep properly for 11 days. You tell yourself you didn't participate, but you were there, and they have documentation of everyone who was there. You understand now that the invitation was not a privilege. It was a deposit. Level 5, the leverage economy. At level 5, you stop thinking about right and wrong as a moral framework. You start thinking about it as a risk framework. This is not a conscious shift. It happens the way erosion happens. You don't notice the material leaving, only that one day the landscape looks different. You now manage relationships with 7 people who are, by any conventional measure, more powerful than you. Politicians. Executives. A man who controls the editorial direction of 3 major publications. You don't manage them openly. You manage them through the information you hold, the access you provide, and the problems you make disappear. A problem disappears like this. A man in your network is about to be named in a financial fraud investigation. Not charged, named. You make 3 calls. The investigation's lead attorney receives a communication from someone above him, suggesting the evidentiary foundation is weaker than believed. The attorney, who has his own exposure from an event 3 years prior that you know about, reassesses. The name disappears from the investigation. No money changes hands. No explicit threat is made. Leverage doesn't need to be spoken. It just needs to be known. You begin maintaining files.
See, this is the big part here. Blackmail and insurance. We have witnessed this in our current civilization right now with these Epstein files. President Trump and all of the constituents that were a part of this organization have had paperwork on them, allegedly, and have been named in these Epstein files. These files existed on his island because he wanted to make sure that he could get away with what he was doing, but also he was the cleaner for everyone else. That explains where his abundance of wealth came from that we still don't have a real number for. the ability to buy several islands and do whatever you wanted to do without technically having a formal job. As you can see, this is the stage that we're describing right now. Tons of McKenna said, "Add tons of mice." Yes, tons. We get you. You're Jeffrey Epstein after you faked your death and created the account. You think I haven't figured it out? I have. I know. I have the information here. Well, it would explain a lot, tons of mice. That would explain a lot.
Not on a computer, in a structure managed by a lawyer in a jurisdiction that doesn't cooperate with American or European legal processes. The files contain documentation of what you know about each person in your network. It's not a blackmail folder, you tell yourself. It's insurance. The distinction you're drawing is thinner than you admit. The paranoia starts here. You change your patterns, vary your routes. You switch phones every 60 days. You have your primary residence scanned for devices twice a year by a man who charges $40,000 per sweep and has never found nothing. You stop trusting anyone fully. Not because you have evidence of betrayal, because you understand now how these structures work, and you know that above you, someone is holding a file with your name on it, with documentation of the things you've done, with the signature you gave in level 3, and the island you attended in level 4, and every brick they've placed since. You are protected by the network. You are also owned by it. Level 6, the architecture. You're constructing now, not just operating. You identify candidates. You watch them. You run them through the early levels the way you were run through them, and you observe which ones have the psychology that survives the compression, the gradual moral narrowing, the willingness to hold exposure without flinching. You understand the machine from the inside now. The machine isn't a council. It isn't a meeting room with a round table and 13 seats. It's a distributed network of obligations and knowledge, self-reinforcing, self-protecting, without a single point of failure because there's no center. You take out any one person, and the structure redistributes around the gap. This is why it survives. Because it's woven into the systems that the visible world depends on. Financial systems, legal systems, media systems, political systems. You don't fight a structure by exposing one node. The exposure of one node is actually useful to the structure, occasionally. It gives people the feeling that accountability exists while the architecture beneath remains untouched. You've watched this happen in real time. A man adjacent to your network becomes a public scandal. The coverage is intense, controlled, and surgical. It reveals enough to satisfy the public appetite for accountability. It reveals nothing about the systems he was part of. The people above him are not mentioned. The structure is not described. The scandal becomes the story. The story buries the structure. You watch journalists who are close to the actual story get redirected. A book deal appears from a publisher with the right relationships. A documentary gets funded that covers the adjacent territory without touching the core. A source gets quietly discredited before their information reaches anyone who could use it. It's not suppression. Suppression creates martyrs. It's saturation. Flood the zone with the story you want told, and there's no oxygen left for the one you don't. You design some of this. You sleep, but the quality has changed. There's no peace in it anymore, just unconsciousness, and then mourning. Level 7, the disappearance. You are no longer a person in any public sense. Your name is attached to nothing. Your assets are held in layered structures across 4 jurisdictions. You haven't been photographed in 18 months. Your digital footprint, managed by a team of 3 people whose entire function is your invisibility, is essentially a controlled fiction. A persona that exists just enough to explain your absence from public life without inviting scrutiny. The people who know who you actually are could fit in a small room. Most of them are above you. You don't know who they are. This is the thing that doesn't leave you. The understanding that above you, the structure continues. That the level you occupy is not the ceiling. That decisions get made at altitudes you can't perceive, by people whose names you've never encountered, using mechanisms you don't have access to. You have spent years accumulating knowledge as protection. And now you understand that the knowledge you have is precisely the knowledge someone above you permitted you to have. The paranoia at this level is different from level 5. Level 5 paranoia is operational. Change your phone, vary your route, scan for devices. That's manageable. That's a protocol. Level 7 paranoia is philosophical. It's the understanding that you cannot verify the ground beneath you. That every move you've made may have been anticipated. That the autonomy you feel may be a managed illusion. You think about people who left the structure. Or tried to. Some of them had accidents. Some of them had mental health crises that emerged very publicly, very conveniently, right before they were about to say something important. Some of them simply became unreliable narrators in the public record. Their histories revised, their credibility undermined, their associations reframed, so that by the time they spoke, no one credible would listen. You don't plan to leave. But you think about it sometimes at 3 in the morning in the property that doesn't appear on any map, and the thinking itself frightens you in a way that nothing external has managed to for years. Level 8, the weight. There's no one above you now that you can identify. Whether that means you're at the top, or whether it means the top has simply become invisible to you, you can't determine. You've stopped trying. What you have, total security, total control. access to mechanisms that shape how millions of people live without those people having any awareness that the shaping is occurring. A network of obligations so dense that your protection is essentially structural. Too many people are implicated in your continued silence to allow anything to happen to you. What you've lost. The full list would take longer than you have patience for. Start with trust. End with self. The person who received that first dinner invitation, who felt the low-grade excitement of being noticed by powerful people, who signed a document for $45,000 and told himself it was harmless. That person is not available anymore. Simply gone. Replaced gradually with a function, an operator of systems, a node in a network. You don't grieve it because the part of you that would have done the grieving left somewhere around level 4. What you feel instead is a kind of totalizing quiet. A stillness that isn't peace but is so complete it's indistinguishable from it at a distance. You think sometimes about the files that exist on you. In the lawyer's office in the cooperative jurisdiction. In the hands of the people above you, whoever they are. In the systems you've spent years both feeding and fearing. You think, if I died tomorrow, the structure would absorb the gap in 48 hours. This doesn't horrify you. It locates you accurately. You are not the architect. You are a brick. A very high up brick in a very tall wall. But a brick. The wall doesn't need you. You needed the wall. And somewhere at the base of it, a new brick is being placed. A man you've never met is at a dinner he almost didn't attend. Someone across the table is asking him questions and remembering his answers. He thinks the man is just socially gifted. He thinks this is a networking event. He thinks he's in control of what happens next. He'll sign a document in 4 months. He'll tell himself it's harmless. You said the same thing. And here you are.
9 months. So the
Here
earliest
you are.
I could
Look, I want to keep it going, guys. I want to keep it going. We just found out, and we just talked about celebrities and where they look crazy at because they tried to expose an industry that they were a part of. There's evidence to this. This is not speculation. Let's go.
Spoken figures in the entertainment world have frequently been ignored, mocked, or branded as insane for voicing hard-to-hear realities, whether they were calling out mistreatment, questioning influential systems, or just speaking up before the world was willing to hear them. Plenty of these stars suffered greatly for their candor, yet time has a way of uncovering what's real, and these 10 public figures were ultimately proven right for their once divisive claims and behaviors. Number 10, Leah Remini. When actress Leah Remini left the Church of Scientology in 2013, it became a major news story, not just for her exit, but for what followed. Instead of moving on quietly, she openly criticized the church's inner workings. She spoke out about widespread financial abuse, psychological control, and emotional harm within the group. At the time, members of Scientology turned against her, labeling her a defector and launching personal attacks. But Leah stood firm. She went on to produce the Emmy-winning docuseries Leah Remini, Scientology and the Aftermath, where former members shared their experiences. The show exposed alarming claims and helped strengthen Leah's reputation as a fearless and credible voice against the powerful institution. Number 9, Lisa Bonet. Lisa Bonet, best known for playing Denise Huxtable on The Cosby Show, was often labeled a difficult one on set. Her frequent clashes with Bill Cosby eventually led to her departure from the series. In later interviews, Bonet spoke vaguely but pointedly about the troubling atmosphere she felt, alluding to Cosby's sinister shadow energy. At the time, her comments were dismissed as strange or resentful, but years later, when more than 60 women came forward with allegations of sexual misconduct against Cosby, her earlier statements took on a haunting significance. While she never directly accused him of abuse, her intuition now seems eerily accurate. For years, she stood apart, and time revealed she had sensed the truth long before the world was ready to hear it. Number 8, Jose Canseco. In 2005, the baseball world was rocked when former MLB star Jose Canseco published his explosive memoir, Juiced. In the book, he admitted to using performance-enhancing drugs and implicated numerous other star players. The backlash was immediate and fierce. Media outlets, former teammates, and MLB officials dismissed him as a disgraced opportunist desperate for attention. He was ridiculed, branded a liar, and accused of tarnishing the sport. But as the years passed, major steroid scandals began surfacing, with big names like Mark McGwire and Alex Rodriguez eventually admitting to drug use. Canseco's controversial claims were repeatedly confirmed. Though once vilified for betraying the game, he's now seen as one of the earliest figures to reveal the uncomfortable truth from inside baseball's inner circle. Number 7, Drake Bell. Years before Hollywood began confronting its legacy of abuse, former Nickelodeon actor Drake Bell attempted to shine a light on a troubling truth. He accused dialogue coach Brian Peck, an industry insider with powerful connections, of sexual assault. Rather than rally behind Bell, the industry seemed to protect Peck. He continued working, backed by glowing character references from well-known actors. Bell, whose identity as the victim remained hidden at first, later revealed how deeply isolating and painful the silence was. But as legal documents emerged and unsettling details about Peck came to light, Bell's accusations gained credibility. What was once dismissed as an isolated claim transformed into a glaring example of how Hollywood often shields its own until undeniable truths finally break through. Number 6, Cat Williams. Outspoken comedian Cat Williams has long been seen as unpredictable, eccentric, or erratic. Yet behind his outbursts were often claims about power imbalances and dark secrets within the entertainment world. In a viral 2024 interview on Shannon Sharp's Club Shay Shay podcast, Williams opened up about exploitative party culture in Hollywood, name-dropping controversial figures like Diddy. He warned others to say no to elite party invitations and hinted at troubling behavior behind closed doors. While some dismissed his statements as conspiratorial, subsequent lawsuits and allegations involving Diddy made people revisit Cat's comments with new seriousness. What once sounded wild suddenly looked like a warning. Number 5. Colin Kaepernick. Back in 2016, NFL quarterback Colin Kaepernick sparked a massive conversation when he chose to kneel during the national anthem as a protest against racial inequality and police violence. The reaction was immediate and fierce. He was accused of being unpatriotic, disrespectful, and a disruption to the game. Fans and league officials alike condemned his silent demonstration, and as a result, Kaepernick was effectively blacklisted from professional football. However, just a few years down the line, especially after the global reckoning following George Floyd's tragic death, public opinion shifted dramatically. Kaepernick's protest was reinterpreted as a brave and visionary act of resistance. Today, he stands as an iconic figure in athlete activism, celebrated for using his platform to ignite worldwide discussions about justice and equality. Number 4. Rose McGowan. Rose McGowan was among the first celebrities to courageously speak out against Harvey Weinstein's decades-long pattern of sexual abuse. For years, she faced doubt, was labeled difficult, or dismissed as someone seeking attention. Despite intense pressure to stay quiet, McGowan stood her ground, even as powerful industry figures tried to undermine her credibility. When the Me Too movement gained momentum and numerous women publicly accused Weinstein, McGowan's early warnings were finally validated. Her bravery played a pivotal role in breaking the silence that had protected one of Hollywood's darkest secrets. While her outspoken stance came at a heavy personal and professional price, history has since recognized her as one of the most important voices in the movement for accountability and change. Number 3. Corey Feldman. Former child actor Corey Feldman has long spoken out about abuse within the entertainment world. He has accused influential Hollywood figures of exploiting young performers, drawing from his own experiences and those of his late close friend Corey Haim. For years, his claims were dismissed as exaggerations or conspiracy theories, especially as he struggled with addiction and personal trauma. Many refused to take him seriously. However, more recently, a growing number of former child stars have stepped forward with similar stories, and documentaries have highlighted the systemic failures that allowed such abuse to persist. Feldman's early warnings, once ignored, are now seen as part of a larger movement pushing the industry to acknowledge and address these deep-rooted problems. He remains a vocal advocate for protecting vulnerable performers. Number 2. Ernest Hemingway. Ernest Hemingway, one of America's most revered literary figures, spent the last years of his life battling intense paranoia. He was convinced that the FBI was keeping tabs on him, though many close to him believed these fears were symptoms of mental illness. During this period, Hemingway underwent multiple sessions of electroconvulsive therapy in an attempt to treat his psychological distress. Tragically, in 1961, he took his own life. Decades later, after FBI files were declassified, it became clear that Hemingway's fears were not unfounded. He had indeed been under government surveillance. The agency was monitoring him due to suspected connections with Cuba amid Cold War tensions. What was once dismissed as paranoia was actually justified suspicion. Hemingway was watched closely by the authorities for years. Number 1. Sinead O'Connor. Irish singer Sinead O'Connor stunned audiences worldwide during a 1992 Saturday Night Live performance when she ripped up a photo of Pope John Paul II, urging viewers to fight the real enemy. This was a daring protest against the widespread sexual abuse within the Catholic Church. The backlash was swift and harsh. NBC banned her from the network. The media mocked her, and much of the music industry shunned her. At the time, few were willing to acknowledge the scale of the abuse she was calling out. However, as investigations and scandals later revealed the horrific extent of clergy misconduct, O'Connor's bold act was reevaluated and appreciated. What once seemed shocking and controversial is now recognized as a fearless stand for justice and truth.
Wow.
Level 1.
Wow. We're not going to do that. We're not going to do that one, y'all. We're not going to do that one. No, we ain't got time for that one. Look, I'm going to tell you guys how it works, right? Or enough. This thing is multi-level. It's multi-corporational, multinational. We've done episodes about Epstein and power before, so we don't have to dive too much into that. But I'm going to tell you, there's a reason behind it. And the reason is very simple. They want power, and the best way to have power is to have power over the people. How do you have power over the people? You teach them who to revere, who to rejoice for, who to worship for, who to listen to, who's credible, who's not, and you change that. There are other musicians, artists, and other actors and people who have tried to come out and say something, and a lot of them have had terrible endings. They lost their fortunes, or they just been deemed as crazy. Pay what they're saying attention and not the person. Because I guarantee you, if you did, you're probably going to find some truth in the things they're trying to expose. I don't want to say too much on there. Matter of fact, I'm not even here right now. I kind of haven't been here all weekend, and that's just how it is. We're going to move forward. That there has to be something behind it. And what is behind all of the power? It's oligarchy. I know It's oligarchy. And everybody's worried about what the oligarchy is. And everybody's just, Tez, I don't understand why you have to be like this all the time with all of the
blah, blah, gay sex, blah, blah, Congress.
And every time you talk about it, it's just nothing but
blah, blah, gay sex, blah, blah, Congress.
Because that's what they do. That is what they do. McKinnon said, Bernie Sanders just entered the chat. What's up, Bernie? How you doing, Bernie? You know what I'm saying? They stole an election from you too, didn't they? Let's go. Let's talk about oligarchy, guys. Is the U.S. an oligarchy?
Do you ever feel like the government just doesn't work for you? Well, if you do, you're not wrong and you're not alone. A shocking study from Princeton and Northwestern University showed that the government is actually far more responsive to the interests of big business and the top 10% of income earners than they are to everyone else. Researchers call this an oligarchy. It's a government where a tiny group of elites are in charge of everything, and the rest of us just get left behind. So how does this happen? Well, it's corruption. Yeah, corruption. That same study from Princeton and Northwestern looked at 20 years worth of data, and they found that the opinions of 90% of Americans barely matter at all in our government. Why? Because business elites are spending millions of dollars lobbying our elected officials to get what they want instead of what we want. Those same people who are lobbying are the same people that fund elected officials' re-election campaigns. So in other words, in order to get re-election, they have to work for the business interests. If they don't, they lose. They spend millions of dollars lobbying our government. And you know what they get in return? Billions of dollars of our tax money. But here's the good news. We can change it. We can fix it. If we change the way that our elections are funded, putting in strict ethics, transparency, and campaign finance laws, it means that voters have more control. And laws like ranked choice voting and open primaries give voters more power and more voice in elections. If we get these laws passed, we start to take control of the political system again. Look, this fight isn't about politics. It's certainly not about Democrat or Republican.
Yeah, because screw them both.
Or right versus left. This is about we the people. This is about having a government that works for all of us, not just the wealthy, connected few. If you want to have a government like that, join us at Represent Us. We're fighting for it, but we can't win without you.
So that was a short video. Let's talk a little bit about it, okay? Oligarchy. Oligarchy. I'm going to leave that on screen while I talk. How many people have felt as if the government doesn't work for them? I, for one, am one of those people. There are so many government programs and so many government, dividends that never pay out anywhere towards me or any of the people that I think need help. Excuse me. How do we combat this? I don't think we can with the way that things are today. This is why there are groups that are lobbying for reform, change, and in some places revolution. And I'm not against it at all. I do see what's going on. And we see that our highest officials in government tend to be corrupt in one way or another. And that's in government. This is not partisan. It's both sides. So if both sides are the problem, then we have to do something to get rid of them. I'm not saying go and form a new political party. I'm not saying that at all. It's possible. You can. You probably should. But you're going to need people to lobby with you to get that type of control if you want to do it that way. And then you have to question, even if you do get the support, are they going to count the votes? If 90% of what the people are voting for doesn't count, what do the people matter? They don't. This is why the 1% hold all the power, all of it. At least when it comes to decision-making, food, industry, who gets permits, who doesn't get permits, who gets licenses, who doesn't get licenses, the laws themselves, the way the laws interpreted. As you can see, this has the trickle-down effect that people weren't necessarily overlooking. Our country and many other countries, they're an oligarchy. An oligarchy is a collection of the rich, the powerful, the influential, the names. They're to make decisions for everybody else. Are you okay with that? Are you okay with the status quo? As long as they leave you alone. These are the questions that I'm here to ask today. I for one am not. I don't like other people making all of my decisions. I don't like being placed at the bottom permanently. I don't think that that's a thing. Not for me anyway. I do think there's ways to overcome, and I do believe that there are certain revolutions and uprising and revolts that need to happen for this to take place. I can't tell you what they are. I can't direct you to them. I can't do that. You just have to know. Do I know? I'm not saying that. I'm not claiming to know everything at all. I'm just claiming to know what's available. And I know this because I research. 145. Hey, settle down, pup. Y'all don't understand how the dog don't like nobody trying to come and knock on the door. I don't have visitors. Somebody knocks on the door, the dog's not happy about it. I'm not going up there because the dog don't know them, which means it's not for me. I'm here with you guys right now. Man, what do we got next? What do we got next? I'm definitely gonna pay more attention to what we got going on here. Why don't we take a little short break and show you guys what we did in Chicago and why you guys should be ready to join us in Georgia.
Why you ain't say nothing? I'm only gonna do this once. You always knew I'd make it from the beginning. Why you ain't say nothing? You believed in me the whole time, for real? Yeah. I couldn't tell. You was around me from the beginning. Why you ain't say nothing? Why you ain't say nothing? Seen them hard times, couldn't kill me. Why you ain't say nothing? Why you ain't say nothing? Stages on moon getting bigger. Now you wanna say something. But watching my story all winter. Why you ain't say nothing? Why you ain't say nothing? Why you ain't say nothing? Why you ain't call? Why you ain't say nothing? Why you ain't say nothing? Why you ain't? You was around me from the beginning. Why you ain't say nothing? Why you ain't? Stages on moon getting bigger. Now you wanna say something. Put that on my soul.
That right there was the Raw Society Coalition, a Singles and Soulmates tour that we did in Chicago. And this is the Raw Society Coalition group of pages. We are 5 individual creators who come together to form like Voltron to make the Raw Society Coalition. As you guys can see, take a screenshot of the pages that are right next to me in this photo. You have the Raw Society Coalition, the Classic Codes, the Souls of Thought with the No Middleman podcast, Uncle Plug TV, Conversations with Soft Rain, who are members of that podcast as well, and have their own channels. Everybody does something different here, and you are right here, right now with the TezDown. And because you're right here, right now with the TezDown, it is time for a stretch break. What's up in the chat? How you doing? We got tons of my set McKinnon Marketing. LOL. International School. It's not disrespectful to kneel during the national anthem simply because the national anthem was not made for people of color. When the national anthem was written, it was not made for people of color because we weren't citizens. We weren't even people to them. So if you are a person of color, please understand that reason, and please don't try to lobby behind the people who are trying to make sure that you have a voice and that you get heard. It would behoove you to stand behind freedom fighters and people who have deemed themselves as such, because it should help you out a whole lot. Now, guys, we're going to shift gears a little bit, and we're going to say everything about the secret societies that we have had today and that we have been brought today brings us to an interesting point in society where people, the millennials, who have been keeping the economy alive, who have been keeping the industries alive, because we are the ones that are most knowledgeable about what to do next. It is not Gen X. It is not the baby boomers for sure. And it for damn sure ain't Gen Z. Okay. I'll give you guys some facts here. Fact number one. Gen Z has had less children than any other generation before them. They have half the children of millennials. Millennials have half the children of Gen X. That means that Gen Alpha is the smallest of generations thus far. The smallest of generations. I'm not going to run the numbers for you today. We can do that on another show. But if you guys don't believe me, you can run the numbers. Look at the numbers and see what's going on with the fertility and how Gen Alpha is so small. They're saying that, oh, what's okay? AI is going to replace them. The ones we don't have, AI will replace them. That's not true. That's not true. AI can't replace certain jobs. AI can't replace certain industries. It just simply isn't good enough, and it's not physical yet. Not to that degree. Not to the degree of a human being. What this has led to is a lot of millennial outrage, millennial anger, millennial hurt, and millennials not being able to take care of their own business. Today, we have a woman called Bree, the mannequin. The womanican. We're going to watch Bree today, and we're going to see what Bree's life is about. And then we're going to talk about it. Sko said, when are you bringing the True Crime Mondays back? I told you guys that I will bring you guys a True Crime Monday when I get to 500 subscribers. When I get to 500 subscribers, I will do a True Crime Monday for everybody. So this is a group effort. If you guys want to see a True Crime Monday, put your ones in the chat. Put your ones in the chat if you guys want another True Crime Monday. I appreciate that, Sko. I appreciate that. And there's been so many people that have come forward and asked me, when can I do True Crime Monday again? And I'm going to tell you guys, I have some stories lined up for True Crime Monday whenever it returns. Tons of mice, that's good enough. 6'7", that's good enough. That's good enough. I'm more of a 1738 guy myself, but then again, I am a millennial. And everybody knows 2016 was one of the best years to ever happen. So I like that. 6'7". Hey, you know what? We got some cash, and we got a Cash App in. What you want to hear? You want 8 money, or you want? It's 8 money. All right, let's go.
No more day job. I was tired of being a slave. 1,000,001 ways for a man to get paid. Rather work myself into my own damn grave than to get these bloodsuckers another damn day. Gotta find a way to make my own way. Trying to run my race with my own race. They say we come from monkeys, so when I die, split my money with my apes. When I die, split my money with my apes. We the taste makers, y'all ain't really got no taste. Pour some Bel Air, celebrate cause we great. And pour something out for my homies that ain't make it. When I die, split my money with my apes. Till then, I'ma have a baddie feed me grapes. Till then, I'ma switch the motto and the make. When I die, split my money with my apes. I ain't got no boss, Dame Dash. Still 60 million in my forecast. I'm about to put the logo in the floor mats. Ain't gonna be happy to me and Ross check the same bag. 10 years in and I ain't mad. It usually go fast when it came fast. You the woulda, coulda, shoulda at the barbershop. Said you had all the talent but you ain't last. I'd rather say I tried and I came last. I'd rather make a throw to know I can't pass. They say hard time build character. If you ain't been through nothing, how the hell we know you ain't glass? If you built to fail, do it while we on land. Everybody around me is their own man. If you can't hold your own, you on your own, man. Get so much done that they think I got a clone, man. When I die, split my money with the apes. Who the hell went and let this bear up out the cave? I don't hardly sleep, so I can't hibernate. Lot of sacrifice when you trying to be the greatest. When I die, split my money with...
Yeah. Thank you, Anonymous, for the Cash App. I appreciate you. Thank you so much. You are great. Now, we have a section of the show. That's what happens, though. If you guys need to know, that's what happens. You send me some money. You want a song getting played? I'll play a song. I don't care. We have millennial melancholy. The millennials are upset, y'all. Y'all are in trouble now. The millennials are upset, and we got the biggest group left. Let's go.
If you count the past 2 years, I've been unemployed for an entire year. And I've been single for 6 years. And I spend about
This is
6 out of
sick
7
shit.
days a week completely alone. Looking around at my life, I'm like, am I a loser? Now, loserdom is pretty subjective. Loserdom? Loserhood? By my own standards that I set for myself, it feels that way. I am 34 years old, single, jobless, and I feel like I have no friends. How did I end up here? What's up? Welcome to my channel, Bree the Womannequin.
What?
I am Bree. In my entire life,
Bro, what are you talking about, man?
seriously dated 2 guys. And those, no, now is not the time. I've been trying to record this video for forever, and now is the time she decides she wants to have night terrors. Those 2 relationships combined lasted a total for 2.5 years. So for 34 years of my life, I've spent 2.5 years in a relationship. It's funny because when I was 20 years old, my best friend at the time, who was a gay man, I assume he's still a gay man. I told him at the time, if I didn't have kids by the time I was 28, I would be a surrogate for him. 28 has come and gone by 6 years, and I still don't have any kids, surrogate or otherwise. Last year in January, I told myself, if I haven't met anybody by April, that's it. I'm giving up. I'm not looking anymore. And at that point, I had been single for 4 years. And in April, it was going to be 5 years. And 5 years is half a decade. But April came and April went, and I was still single. And something in me just shifted. Before that, I was such a romantic. I loved romance movies. My favorites are Bridget Jones's Diary and I Love Emily. And I thought that my Mark Darcy was out there somewhere. But after April, I just completely disconnected from that. I stopped looking at romance like, oh, I need to feel butterflies. I need to feel a spark with someone. And I started looking at it practically, like, I need somebody to help me pay bills. I need health insurance. I need somebody to have kids with before it's too late. And wanting a partner for romantic reasons just felt stupid. That's what teenagers want. Butterflies, to be romanced. All that stuff is dumb. You could say that I sound jaded, and you'd be right. I was so confused because guys would be interested in me.
Well, she just admitted, excuse me, she just admitted that she feels jaded. And that if you did judge her as being a jaded person, you'd be correct. She hit some pretty serious topics and points here that I want to point out. Point number 1, she had a romantic timeline that she developed inside of her head. That is a fool's errand for anyone that thinks that they're going to find love or relationship by a certain age. Now, as children, we are taught to find it young, have your family, and then go live the rest of your life in relative peace and raise your kids when you're young. That's what we are taught as millennials. Most of us got pushed that narrative. Most of us did. And that's the same narrative that the Gen Xers who are, or if you're unlucky in some situations, the baby boomers, where our parents taught us. Find them young, get them young, impregnate them, have babies, get married, have whatever life that you're going to have, and then ride off into the sunset with all your money and your kids are grown. Kids out of college before you turn 45. That's how it was. Vic Stryker, he said, serious topics undercut by the soundboard. That is the TezDown. This is sports, unscripted, and culture unfiltered. And we just do all types of stuff here in the afternoon. Yes, we do. Thank you, Vic. Yeah, a little less serious than what people are used to. That's how it is.
At first, and then they would romantically ghost me. They'd start treating me like I was just an acquaintance. And sometimes I would ask them directly, like, hey, what happened? And they would never tell me. I am neurodivergent. I have ADHD. And one of the things that means is that I don't always pick up on social cues, and I need things stated directly. So there was a guy that I liked for a year. He was in a relationship at first, so I just had a crush on him from like afar. And then suddenly he was hanging around me a lot. He was trying to come over. He
probably liked you a lot. He probably look. Okay. All right, look. I'm gonna appeal to the ladies. Ladies, you have 2 options. You either, 1, start to see that man for who he really is. Someone who cares about you, sees you in a different light, wants to love and nurture you for the rest of his life. or let him go. Tell him to his face, sir, I have a functional need for your presence, and that is it. I do not want to date you. I do not want to sleep with you. I do not want to have your babies. And I do not want cohabitation. Now, if that man chooses to continue chasing you, that's on him. But say something, because this could turn bad. And I hope it didn't turn bad for her sakes.
To go places I was going, everything just kind of seemed so sudden. And we met up at a party, and because we weren't dating,
there ain't no windows in here. Thanks,
Brad.
Brad.
Completely stopped talking to me after that happened. And I asked him directly multiple times, what happened? And his response was, I don't know what you're talking about. Yeah, so he gaslit me, which is always fun. Years later, I learned that guys don't like when they're interested in you and you dance with another guy, but I didn't know, because for me, technically, we weren't dating. And I had a lot of guy friends at that time. So I thought we were just hanging out.
Well, I've got some news for you. What you didn't know is guys don't like a lot of stuff that y'all do. It's just most of them won't tell you. They'll just let you do what you want to do, and then they'll move on. Or they'll classify you as recreation only. Infer from that what you'd wish. Big Striker said there is a third option, not dealing with men altogether. There is a third option. That is it. Please, as I've said before, ladies, if you feel as if there are no good men on planet Earth, and there never has been, just don't deal with them. But also, stay out of their space. That's my opinion. Stay out of their space. You don't want to deal with men, don't deal with men. Don't go around where men go. You see 15 guys hanging out, don't try to insert yourself as a fellow. It's really that simple. I don't try to insert myself in women's circles. I see y'all don't like me. That's cool. Y'all could go not like me and all the other men in peace. I have nothing to say about it. I don't care, honestly. People who do like me. And if you don't, great. Good for you. Now go find some more people who don't like me, and then y'all have a party. Preferably a party named after me, but it is what it is. Ain't nothing wrong with having a party named after me. Y'all don't like me that much, y'all want to talk about
Enough about me. Let's talk about me. What do you think of me?
Oh, and I incorrectly assumed that if he were interested in me, he would have just told me. Another problem that I had, I would look to characters on TV and in shows, and I would try to become more like them. But I was becoming the type of woman that I'm attracted to in stories. You know, the cool girl, the manic pixie dream girl, the fun girl, the lovable, socially awkward loser, which...
Ladies and men, I must speak for the guys here. The majority of us don't like any of those archetypes at all. They're frustrating. They're difficult to deal with. They're moody. They're inconsistent. And then they don't ever really know what they want. So it leaves you holding the bag 99% of the time. So what she's saying, let's go over this again. Let her say it again.
And in shows, and I would try to become more like them. But I was becoming the type of woman that I'm attracted to in stories. You know, the cool girl, the manic pixie dream.
Again, you're becoming the person that you are attracted to. I don't identify with any of these stereotypes or archetypes. I'm none of these women, so to say. If you guys want me to say it in plain English, I'm none of these women. So if you're attracted to this as a woman, you cannot be attracted to me, because I'm not going to fulfill that stereotype that you have built. See, you watch TV. What she's telling us is that she watched TV and movies and she falls in love with the characters. And then she looks for the character in a man. That's not a thing. Is it? Correct me if I'm wrong, guys, but I don't think that's a thing for men. Any of them.
Girl, the fun girl, the lovable, socially awkward loser.
All of these have their own drawbacks to males. Let's just go over it. She said, let's see what the girl she's showing us. She said, the funny girl, where is that at? The funny girl, the socially awkward girl, the girl that is has all the friends. Ladies, I'm gonna tell you a secret. Men, the type of men that will love and treat you right and treat you great, they don't like any of those stereotypes. They're not attracted to them. They're headaches, big ones, migraines, even chronic migraines. Even I know a thing or two about chronic migraines, and no, it's not from sports. Men don't like any of those archetypes. Those archetypes are put in movies and TV as a foil or a folly. the best friend that gets on everybody's nerves, notice that she never has a man. And when she does, it's for comedic and anecdotal purposes for the show or the movie. The men have agreed. The men are agreeing. The men are agreeing. No, Vic, it's Illinois. It's Illinois, okay? UConn only won the game last night because Duke forgot how much time was on the clock. All you had to do was dribble. You got 5 seconds to get across the line, man. All you had to do was dribble. What are you trying to throw the ball down the court for? You could have dribbled, held onto the ball, got fouled, and the dude never would have taken a damn near 40-foot jump shot to win the game. The game was over at that point. They were down 2. They were down 2. He had the ball with less than 2 seconds left. Hold on to the basketball. Sometimes just hold on to the basketball. Okay, Vic, you can disagree. Did UConn not win the game? Yes, but Illinois is not going to make the same mistake that Duke did. I'm going to tell you right now. I'm going to tell you right now, Vic. I'm gonna let this one slide. But we Chicago. We Chicago in here. Illinois, baby. U of I, baby. Fighting the Illini, baby. For this tournament, anyway. For this tournament. I didn't go there. I didn't go there. I'm just letting you. I did not go there. I went to a couple different colleges. Tons of mindset. I try to be like people in movies. I see. Right now, I'm channeling the Javier Bardem character in No Country for Old Men. Good movie. Good movie.
Attracted to in stories, you know, the cool girl, the manic pixie dream girl, the fun girl, the lovable, socially awkward loser, which are not the type of women that men that I like are actually attracted to. So not only was I not being myself, I wasn't even doing it to my own benefit because that shit was not working. I guess for like a guy, that's like if you really resonated with like, I don't know, John Cena or Dwayne Johnson. That's like if you wanted to get a girl to like you and you started acting like The Rock and saying shit like The Rock would say. But what women want in dating is the Timothée Chalamets and the Ryan Goslings. I think also like I just don't like people frequently enough, and I don't really have ways of meeting new partners because all of my hobbies are solo hobbies and I work from home. My pond is very small. Even if I met someone tomorrow, I'd want to date them for a year at least before getting married. And then I'd want to be married for a year at least before getting pregnant. And then I'd have to be pregnant for 9 months. So the earliest I could have a child would be at 37 years old. That is old. And that's if I met someone tomorrow. A lot of the same issues that I have in romance, I have in friendships. I'm a high context type of person, and most people don't need as much context as I do.
This is
someone
sick
says something
shit.
that bothers me, I tell them, hey, this bothered me. Why did you say that? But if it's the other way around, they don't tell me. They just stop talking to me. It's especially difficult.
Remember asking you a goddamn thing.
I don't necessarily think to say things with a person's feelings in mind. I might just be trying to convey information, and then somebody will read something into my tone, and I'll be like, what tone? And I always thought that
Passport Sco said, men do not want women with lots of friends. I will agree. Vic Striker said Ryan Gosling is hot. Tons is channeling James Buchanan. Tons said, yes, he is. Vic said, why not, Sco? Why don't men want women with lots of friends? I'll tell you this right now. I'm going to agree that men that I know do not want women with lots of friends. They don't. They just don't. Too many moving parts.
people should say what they mean. If they want me to understand something, they should say it. They shouldn't talk around it. I shouldn't have to pick up on context clues. But that's not how humans work. Honestly, I think the bigger issue in friendships for me, though, is I don't have an identity. Most people have like a set identity. You're an athlete, you're a nerd, you're into fitness, you're into music, you're a Ravenclaw. I feel like most people put all their points into one skill tree, you know? Me, I'm like, put 3 points into magic, 2 points into strength, 1 point into stealth, 2 more points into charisma. I'm not maxed out in anything. I like some anime. I read some manga. I like watching science videos on YouTube. I like reading smut. I'm not really into movies. The other day, my mom was complaining about how she didn't like that Netflix knew that she was a Black woman based on what she was getting recommended. And I was curious as to what my algorithm thought about me, and it was all over the place. I don't think there's anything wrong with that.
I'll tell you this right now. My algorithms for everything are all over the place. Not just because I do this show every day, but also because I'm a person with a lot of interests. So I would agree that not sitting in one pot is good. But here's the thing. You have to be able to max out something. Whatever it is, max it out. As much as you can go, whatever it is, max it out. That will help you with your identity. If you like the color blue, wear blue every day. Paint your house blue. Have blue carpet. Have blue wheels on your car. That gives you extra experience points. That will give you extra personality points. And now I can pinpoint on something that you actually do like and not just passively tolerate. You see, I have lots of interests. I have lots of things I like to do. As you guys can see, some days I'll be wearing a Nike sweater. The other days I'm wearing a shirt with Godzilla eating noodles. And those are things that I like very, very much. I'm not passive in it at all. Tons of mice said, not tons of mice, McKinnon. Sorry, McKinnon. I don't think anyone should have lots of friends, but my definition of friend is strict. But yeah, I like that my wife has a good amount of friends. Even selfishly, sometimes I get a day to myself. Now, that's a different story altogether, McKinnon. You also don't have a hierarchy that your wife will follow to keep her away from you. Your wife is your wife. And I guarantee you that she's your number one and you're her number one. But that's not the case in these types of relationships. Kira said, so in your opinion, what is an ideal archetype for a woman? I'm so confused and curious at the same time. I don't have an ideal archetype for a woman. I don't. I like honesty. I like directness. I like people who know what they want. I like people who like me. That's a big one for me. I like people who like me. And I like to be able to represent myself with that person without feeling as if they're judging me negatively. That you should never have to be with somebody that doesn't like you. You shouldn't. I don't like cheesecake at all. Never give me cheesecake. Some people don't like onions. I don't like cheesecake at all. I don't find it to be delicious. You know, I don't particularly like the smell of it. I don't really even like how it looks. So I'm not a cheesecake person. You know, if you want to give me cheesecake, I'm going to be like, this person doesn't understand me at all. I once had a girl that I was dating give me a wonderful, wonderful Adidas sweater for my birthday. I don't like Adidas. I don't wear Adidas. I don't like Adidas anything. I don't like their shoes. I don't like their clothes. I don't like their hats. I'm not attracted to it. She gave it to me and she was so happy to give me this. Now, let me tell you, I made a concession. I understood where she was coming from when she gave me the gift, and I appreciated the gift, and I even wore the gift 2 times. I've had that gift for a number of years now. I have not thrown it away, but I've only worn it twice. I don't know if I'll ever wear it again. And if I do wear it again, it's probably not going to be to a function. It's probably going to be as some sort of costume. I'm not a fan of Adidas. Some people don't like gold. So if you gave them a gold ring, they would accept the ring, thank you, feel appreciative, but not wear it. If you gave me, I don't know, a White Sox hat, I would appreciate the gift because I wear hats all the time, even though I have a full head of beautiful hair. I just like hats, y'all. As you can see, I like hats. That hat is not even the same as this hat. That hat has a gray underbill. This hat's black. I like hats. I like hats with my number on them. I like things with my name on them. I like necklaces with my number on them and my name on them. I like this stuff. I like merchandise. I like, those are things that I like. But at the expense of what someone else is giving me, I'm going to appreciate it. But no, I'm not going to wear it all the time. Maybe never. Let's catch up with these comments real quick. My opinion, what is an ideal archetype? There just isn't one. I'm going to go with respectful, loving, caring, strong, not selfish. But mostly people who have interests and people who like me. People who don't have any interests are annoying. They don't have any substance or any character. They're just automatons living life every single day with not a thought in their heads. Now, I'm not saying that I want you to have thoughts about me that you don't want to change who I am, because I don't want to change who you are. We could just not date. International Skull said, I wear red every day simply because it's my favorite color. I don't blame you. Keep on doing it. He said, I am the McKinnon. That's right, Tons of Mice. Tons of Mice, under no circumstance. It says that I'll never forgive you for this. I did say I'm sorry. I did apologize. Big Striker, what do hierarchies have to do with it? Like social classes or what? So there are social classes and social hierarchies. For example, I have dated women that were well outside of what I made and well outside of my social standing. It didn't always work out very well for me. Matter of fact, I don't think it ever did. I think it lasted for a little bit, and then it became glaringly obvious that I didn't fit into their social hierarchy. I didn't fit into their classism that they wanted to portray. You know, I wasn't one of the people that they could take around everybody, and it was. I won't say it was to my own detriment because I've always just been myself, you know, painfully. So painfully, but I didn't. I don't think that it's a thing that's good for us. Social climbing is what a lot of people do, and if you notice that there's a power balance that happens with social climbing, and I'm not a fan of that power balance at all. The No Tez Club, exactly. Kira said a lot of things you say don't like. A lot of the things you say you don't like will have some women feeling like they're not good enough or can't live up to male standards today. Hey, I'm only a conversation away. That's the thing about me. I don't have to like everything about somebody to like the person. That's just how it goes. We can have a conversation. There's certain compromises that everybody's willing to make, but you're asking about ideals versus reality. If I'm going to talk about the ideal is this, but the reality is this. I can live in the reality all day, but if you ask me about my ideal, I'm going to give you an ideal. An ideal is I'm somewhere on a beach right now with $40 million in the bank and not talking to y'all. But the reality is I'm doing something that I love equally as much, and that's talking to y'all right now and not having 40 million in the bank and sitting on the beach. You see what I mean there? They're both great things in my opinion. They're both great things that I would never want to choose over anything else, but the facts are the facts. The reality is, you know, she might be taller than me, or she might be super short, or she might be a little bit overweight, or she might not have a degree, or she might have too many degrees, you know, or she might spend all of her time in school. All of those things are things that I can't control. What I can control is how I see the person, how I respect the person in their space. And if I like the person enough, then I'm going to overlook the things that aren't ideal. And that's relationship. Tons of Mice. Send your Adidas gear to the TezDown in Chicago, Illinois. If you send me Adidas gear, I might send it back or I might donate it to charity. So if you do, I'll just clothe a bunch of orphans. There's an orphanage that's not too far from here. International School. I like my shoes. I like shoes in my older years. I've become a shoe addict. I like shoes too, Sko. But that was because I was limited as a young man. I'm the oldest of 7. I was very limited. I could only have what I could afford myself and not necessarily what my family could afford. So I had to work, and buying shoes when you make $4.50 per hour is probably not the way you want to spend your entire paycheck. Rigid Vibrations. I like University of Kentucky gear from pencils to sportwear. I have no problem with that. I have a family member. I'm not gonna tell you which one that went there. They are a surgeon, and the University of Kentucky trained them very well. Kira said, "Love this conversation. Just bringing a little nuance. I like the questions."
Doing it on purpose. I just have very diverse interests, and I always have. But most people aren't like that. Most people start heading in a direction when it comes to their interests. And they meet people with similar interests. They listen to the same music. They dress the same way. They have the same hobbies. That never happened with me because I always get bored. I can be really into something for 3 months and then be like, all right, what's next? You know, I just don't really.
I'm going to agree with you, McKinnon. I don't have a body
some
type.
Type of pentagonal Venn diagram or something. And when you're always hopping from interest to interest, you're hopping from group to group. So you're not able to really build those long-term connections with people. And then a lot of the times where I do build like a strong connection with people, there's some aspect of it that makes it temporary in a way. Like when you and a person are working at the same job, and then all of a sudden you switch jobs. You were in an environment where you were talking to this person or seeing this person regularly every single day, but now you're not. And that time that you were spending with that person is completely replaced with something else. Now, if you want to see this person, you got to go out of your way to see this person.
And that right there is the biggest part. That's where I'm going to stop our video at. Vic Striker said, I feel her. ADHD issues. I also have those issues. I feel you there too, man. I don't know. I'm easy when it comes to appearance. Some women make height look good, some make short look good, some make weight look good. If you look good, you look good, damn it. I'm agreeing. If you look good, you look good. Vic said it's called masking. We all do it. One of the hardest things to do is to be engaged with people for the long term. You know, I am more of a hermit when it comes to being around people. I don't have very many friends. I have plenty of people that know me and that I speak to when they want to speak, but it's hard for me to reach out and talk to people. I just can't do it. I do my best to be a good friend to the people that I'm friends with, and if they offend me, then they're just not my friend anymore. It's just how it goes. And for me, I have a very, very high ceiling of offense too. To offend me, you had to have done some work. You know what I'm saying? You've done some research to offend me. I'm pretty lighthearted when it comes to that, and I'm not easily offensible. I've seen a lot of crazy stuff in this world. I think we should hit some millennial melancholy a little bit later on in the week. Because we're running out of time today. Tons of mine said never date people you work with. I'm inclined to agree. Said Venn diagram. You know, I feel for this lady. She's attractive, very good looking in my opinion. You know, she's a nice, average looking, good looking girl, and got a nice body, got a nice personality. I just feel like she's lost in society the way that most of us are. I can't say anything bad about her personality or how she looks. Can't. She would make a good partner for a lot of people. A lot of people. Probably not me, but a lot of people. You know, I'm not a good partner for a lot of people. I know. I'm not for everybody. I'll say it again. If you like Tez, you like speciality. I'm not for everybody. And the show is not for everybody, but everybody's welcome to watch it. You know, that being said, we're going to talk a little bit more about millennials later on this week. I think millennials, we might even do a whole episode about millennial stuff because I see most of us are millennials. The No Tez Club. Never date the birds you work with. They're cameras. Agreed. We're going to talk a little bit more about that later on in the week. It's Monday, guys. Be expecting a lot of information this week from the channels, our constituents. Don't forget about our boys over at the Ben Podcast. Again, I didn't put them up today. We're going to put them up. That's me in the corner. I'm in the red square. Don't forget about checking out the Ben Podcast for all your news needs and cooking too. They do some pretty good cooking over there. They're going to be live later. The Classes Code is going to be live later. You guys got a No Middleman podcast tonight. You guys should be good for the rest of the day. And if you aren't, please go back and watch some of my previous episodes. The numbers on those are a little bit lacking in my opinion. And I would like you guys to catch up. There's some really good information that I put out last week talking about black grifters and black grifter fatigue and even black fatigue itself. And I don't think that's a real thing, but whatever. But you guys, you've been great. Thank you for showing up to the TezDown today. Let me make sure that I let this be said one more time. If you guys want to talk to me, if somebody wants to talk to me or come on this show, you know where to find me. All of my information is scrolling at the bottom of the screen. If you want to donate, go ahead and donate. If you don't, you don't. It wasn't required. All of my socials are here, right here, right here, right here, at Soul Reaper 24 across the board. I am Tez. I am 24. This is the TezDown. This is Monday. I'll see you guys in another 24.
I'm the Tez. I'm the Tez.
Welcome to the TezDown. Welcome.
I'm the Tez.
Mic check 1 2. Welcome. Welcome to the TezDown. Party time.